Brian Holtzman's podcast Dead Air was another of the many shows on Red Band's Death Squad network. It ran through 2021 and ended after Red Band made the move to the promised land of Austin, Texas. On this fated episode, Holtzman brought on guests Jeremiah Watkins, as well as a comedian who I'd never heard of called Dylan Sullivan. This episode was recorded and produced back in late 2020, so Jeremiah and Dylan, at the time, would have been considered peers, whereas Brian Holtzman, who's been a paid regular at the LA Comedy Store since 1989, is a legend on the scene. A man who Tony Hinchcliffe calls your favorite comedian's favorite comedian, Holtzman is known for his outlandish character he plays on stage, but his podcast, Dead Air, was way more boiled down, low-key, and even dry.
Mondays.
Packed.
Yeah.
It's 76 degrees today, and Celsius is 24.4 for our Canadian friends. The biometric pressure is 30.5 inches. The dew point is 15 degrees, and Celsius is negative 9.4. And the dew point, I believe that's a negative. Winds are the same, south 5 to 10 miles per hour. I don't think the winds ever change in Burbank. They've been 5 to 10 miles per hour for, I guess, what is this, the 44th show?
For most of these shows, Holtzman would talk about items of interest, which usually starts off with the weather. But during this episode's recitation of the local weather, for whatever reason, Holtzman smelled something he didn't like on Dylan. For this next clip, keep in mind his name is Dylan.
Commented today. Right. What do you think about that, Donnie?
Oh, wow. A lot of things, a lot of numbers getting thrown at me, but what a time to have the year anniversary and a good wind on the day.
Holtzman moves on without acknowledging the joke, but I promise he took note. After reading about the weather for the next literal 2 minutes straight, Brian brings his weather report to an end, and Jeremiah begins to tell a story.
Minutes ago.
Still 40.
So that's the weather.
Oh,
Wow. That's a lot
good.
to think about.
Yeah, I know, right? A lot of numbers going on. I went to this place called Mount Diablo in the Bay Area, and it is second to Mount Kilimanjaro for scenic view, 360-degree scenic view. It's the number 2 in the world.
Now, how long does it take to get up to the top?
It takes a while. It's about a 45-minute drive up.
Oh, I see. So you can drive. You don't have to
drive.
hike.
No, I didn't climb it.
Really? I have to do that.
It's pretty cool.
God knows we have time now to do everything like that.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, this is somebody, and they didn't even go up. They just showed the tower a second ago. When you go up into the lookout tower, it's even bigger. But this is part of the view. It's pretty incredible.
And how far is it from San Francisco City? You know,
it's about I would want to say with the drive, it would probably be an hour and a half.
so relatively close to the city.
Yeah, relatively close. Because my wife's family is from the somewhere that's like 40 minutes east of San Francisco. So and that's other people looking out.
What was the temperature up there like?
It was real cold.
What about the wind?
I did not. Guys, I don't want to get into the wind, but it was pretty.
Dylan looks at Red Band for a moment, then makes a very casual joke, implying that Jeremiah's story is just as boring as the previous section about the weather. He understandably assumed that the weather reading is a bit, and is supposed to be a sort of dry, ironic kind of funny. But this simple joke confirmed to Holtzman what he thought he was smelling on Dylan.
But it was pretty.
Are you mocking his?
No, not at all. I'm curious. I'm curious.
Yeah, wait a second. Were you just mocking me?
No. We're talking
Wait a second,
about the
Brian.
weather.
Let's get into this.
My mock meter went off, Dylan.
No, come
Or
on.
Donnie, or whatever the hell your name is.
Come on. I'm just wondering what the weather's like.
Oh, we can't look at scenic views on this podcast without me being made fun of?
I'm loving it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Great description of the area.
All right,
Killing it.
Let's do today in.
Now, I'm not podcast cringe, so I'm not mistaking Jeremiah's reaction as actual aggression. Love you, PC. But as you can see, he starts kind of ramping up and looking at Holtzman like, "Hey, yeah, Donnie, are you making fun of me?" It's a bit. Duh. However, Holtzman doesn't think it's funny. I think he's actually a little insulted. Not that his feelings were hurt, but I think he decided he didn't like Dylan the moment he said, "I sense mock on you." That said, they all moved on to talking about Jeremiah's special, which had just dropped. Jeremiah went on to explain the tediousness of the copyright process during pandemia, ironically making listening to the podcast itself tedious. I think he knows it was a little boring and passes the buck back to Dylan, who hasn't said a word but snickers as the conversation peters out.
Yeah.
Wow, who paid? Do you have to pay for that service?
Yeah, it's not very expensive. It's like it's something like $50 or $100, something like that, to get something copywritten to say like this is yours.
So
Yeah.
once you got the okay that everything was yours, then you could go and produce the product.
Yeah, you have to make sure you go through that before it goes out on any of those platforms. Otherwise, then somebody can, accuse you of whatever or,
Plagiarism.
Yeah.
Wow. 1935. 1935. The Heisman
And
Trophy.
the wind was strong that day. That I submitted
Yeah,
the
I was a wind,
copyright, all right,
Jeremiah.
Dylan?
What was the temperature like that
Oh,
day?
it was a cold day, all right?
No, it was good.
Wow, you're very militant, Dylan.
I don't know what I woke
This
up on
guy's
the wrong
roasting
side
me
of the,
like crazy.
on the bed today.
He's usually very jovial, but I feel very threatened today by
that
Dylan.
ended a while ago. It's done.
This is the second time Jeremiah has called out Dylan on the wind thing, which was actually Red Band's joke. Dylan asked about the weather in general to begin with, but anyway. Again, I can tell that Jeremiah is joking, but it clearly stokes Holtzman's ire, as he called Dylan militant, which, as comedy enforcement would say, is wild. I think they're both messing with him a little bit, but both comedians kind of give Dylan the cold shoulder over the next several minutes while Holtzman keeps reading off items of interest that happened on that day throughout history. It might not sound like your thing, but I'll let Holtzman defend it.
We had some guests that actually had to get up and leave during items of interest.
Wait, what?
I'm scared.
Wait, why?
A little
Why?
scared.
People
Well,
walked
they
out.
just didn't care for it. They didn't.
Wait, what?
They thought that I should be talking to them and asking them about them, and I was, I get to that, but first we do a little items of interest. Everybody likes items of interest, right?
I like
Yeah,
items
absolutely.
of interest.
And,
Of course, I've always been a fan.
they weren't happening. They weren't happening.
I like listening.
Are you mocking me now?
No, I'm not mocking
Hey,
you.
you swore that you would tell the truth, Dylan.
Promise
You
I will
better
just.
tell right now whether you're lying or not.
All right. I was mocking Jeremiah, but I'm not mocking
Oh!
That stare he gave during the 3 full seconds of pause before he says, "Are you mocking me now?" Woof. But the next thing that happens is Jeremiah has to go to the bathroom and excuses himself whilst Dylan tells a story. This is where Holtzman fires one across Dylan's bow.
You worked the door at the Comedy Store too. Is that right? That's
Yeah,
part of your resume.
I used to. Yeah.
Give us a good story on the door.
Oh man, there's
While you tell that story, you said to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I'm about to pee my pants. I'm gonna go pee, and then I'm coming right back. But
No
I want to
problem.
listen to the story. But start the story. I'm gonna listen from earshot.
No problem.
Previous to Jeremiah getting up to go to the bathroom, Dylan made a passive-aggressive joke about a story Jeremiah was telling. Jeremiah was describing a trip he'd been on, and Dylan, in reference to the way Holtzman starts off his episodes with facts about the weather that day, asks what the wind was like. Which is why Holtzman, once Jeremiah is out of earshot, asks him,
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe we'll just play some Bad Ashley till he gets back.
Yeah, that's good.
So why do you act like you act? Dylan?
I don't fucking
I
know. I'm
mean,
trying to
he's a
figure it
nice
out.
enough gentleman. Why would you lean into him like that?
I think we got like a little like undercurrent of like some competition or some unresolved shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know what's
Competition
going-
and show business? Come on.
I don't know.
That's not a reality. That's not a reality.
At this time, Jeremiah had been on Kill Tony for a few years, but previous to him joining this show was a very small name around the Comedy Store. In fact, were it not for Kill Tony, it's likely we wouldn't have heard of Jeremiah, as I had not heard of Dylan Sullivan. I only mention this because it gives validity to what Dylan just said. They had a competitive streak at the time. Both men were vying to be part of the next generation of Comedy Store assassins. Which is what makes it crazier when Jeremiah gets back and this happens.
Up here in Los Angeles, and they got here maybe 3 weeks ago, and then I'm thinking about moving out again. But it's been pretty good. How's it been for you? For the pandemic?
I'll ask the questions if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
So, do you like Colorado?
Yeah, I love it. My folks, they have a cabin in the woods, so.
It's all right, Dylan. He's back now.
Okay, all right.
Just kind of killing time, Dylan.
Yeah.
That's all that was. Jeremiah's back now. We'll get back on with the show. Thanks. So this is items of interest, and we'll just hit it off and see how far we can go with it.
What was the Comedy Store story?
Go ahead with the comedy story. The doorman comedy. We didn't do it. We were waiting for you to come back.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to tell that?
It's all right. It's all right. I don't want to bore.
Yeah. Why would you want to come on a podcast and not want to speak?
Okay. There's a lot.
Dylan was telling a story about how he loves Colorado, and Holtzman, hilariously, cuts him off, stating that Jeremiah is now back, so we don't have to keep killing time. Jeremiah then asks Dylan to tell the story he was about to tell pre-pee break. Knowing that he was already on sort of thin ice with the pair, Dylan is reluctant. Holtzman calls him out on it. Then there's a special moment. A moment where we see into a very well-hidden place of dark, sadistic enjoyment. Let me play that for you one more time.
That's all that was. Jeremiah's back now. We'll get back on with the show. Thanks. So this is items of interest, and we'll just hit it off and see how far we can go with it.
What was the Comedy Store story?
Go ahead with the comedy story. The doorman comedy. We didn't do it. We were waiting for you to come back.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to tell that?
It's all right. It's all right. I don't want to bore.
Yeah. Why would you want to come on a podcast and not want to speak?
Okay. There's a lot.
This isn't a silly face. This isn't Jeremiah's reaction to a funny joke. This is a glimpse into what Elephant Graveyard, who Jules David describes as the king of what he does, this is a glimpse into what Elephant Graveyard might call Jeremiah's shadow self. As you can see, Jeremiah is clearly sitting behind Dylan. He knows that Dylan can't see him, and in that moment where he needs to connect, but moreover seemingly wants to suck up with and to Brian Holtzman, Jeremiah makes this face. The face of, I know, can you believe this guy? But does this only for a moment, where he suddenly remembers that he's on camera. Jeremiah being physically behind Dylan is part of how I clocked this, but watch how quickly he goes from this face to feigning interest in Dylan's story.
We didn't do it. We were waiting for you to come back.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to tell that?
It's all right. It's all right. I don't want to bore.
Yeah. Why would you want to come on a podcast and not want to speak?
Okay. There's a lot.
Do you want to come on a podcast and not want to speak?
Okay. There's a lot.
It's like he opened a door to his inner soul, then remembered that people were out there and able to see in. Then he quietly closed that door, gently locking it behind him. Keep in mind that Jeremiah was in the bathroom and out of earshot when Dylan mentioned that he and Jeremiah had a competitive streak that leads to them being uncivil with each other, all with classically non-genuine smiles streaked across their faces. And after being shut down the first time, Dylan largely stayed quiet. Except for when he mentioned that his parents paid for his college. But that quiet only lasted until he was called on by Mr. Holtzman.
Just another headache for planet Earth.
So basically, by trying to be more eco-friendly with some of the electricity, now the batteries are starting to pile up in the landfills. It's like we're right back to where we were with the gas and everything.
We can't win.
No.
Dylan, what do you think about that?
It's like the same thing with those windmills.
So, no. Thank you, Dylan.
All right, back to wind again, Dylan. Okay, live that down.
No, I'm saying they make those power.
No, it's all about wind with you.
You take those power windmills, and then they're like, oh, well, now it's a catastrophe for birds everywhere because the birds hit the fans and they all die. You can't win, even if you try to do the right thing.
Ask your father. Don't you ask him if he'll pay the $10,000. Get rid of that debt.
I'll see what I can do. But he's done enough.
He can do more. That's what parents are for. You can't do enough for your children.
Thank you for coming in the windmill.
Two things happened here, and neither were good for our boy Dylan Sullivan. First off, Holtzman shuts him down mid-stride after asking him what he thought, which I'm always a fan of, but it's a total prick move. Almost simultaneously, Jeremiah makes a pretty clever but devastating callback to the wind joke. Dylan tries to make a comeback with the birds thing, but he was cooked. Then, the kill shot, the Holtzman-sized nail in Dylan's coffin, is when Holtzman makes reference to Dylan's parents having paid for his college.
Those power windmills, and then they're like, oh, well, now it's a catastrophe for birds everywhere because the birds hit the fans and they all die. You can't win. Even if you try to do the right thing.
Ask your father. Don't you ask him if he'll pay the $10,000. Get rid of that debt.
I'll see what I can do. But he's done enough.
He can do more. That's what parents are for. You can't do enough for your children.
Thank you for coming in the windmill. This is where I live.
It's very loud and annoying.
Jeremiah, again putting his nicest foot forward so alls can see, bails Dylan out with that windmill guy accent. He can afford to. He has won the favor of the elders, and he knows it. I'm quite sure that in his mind, this was an act of mercy that he bestowed upon the lowly Dylan. How mighty of him. But this look is the truth of the man. We all grew up with this kid. We all know a guy who we are certain is this way behind our backs. And all this being the butt of the joke seemingly broke our boy Dylan. By the time Holtzman was asking him his 10 quick questions, it was all Dylan could do to string some words together.
Number 8, do you hate your mother?
No.
Number 9, if you could, what law would you change or what law would you make?
I would make a law where... I don't know, anything defending free speech.
And
I would make a law where you would get in trouble if you made like a false accusation against someone. Like if you were to like film someone's comedy set or something. I feel like comedy sets should be protected. Like if you're in a club and someone films it, I don't think it should be legal that that person posts it online.
Yeah, I agree.
okay. Number 10, have you ever considered hurting yourself?
Yes. But not anymore.
Good. Yeah, it's a tricky question, but I forget where.
You may have noticed in that last clip that Jeremiah sneaks back into the room after he got up at some point without excusing himself. Now, that's the second time this episode, but at least he comes back and finishes strong.
Get where I was. Now, your bonus question. If you weren't an American, what country would you want to be from?
Spain. I like Spain.
Yeah, I've heard great things about Spain. Have you been overseas?
I have not.
Now, because...
I got you with a Chris James style lie there. No, instead of being a good guest, Jeremiah checks his phone, pockets it, checks it again, then pockets it again, then sighs loudly into the mic and gives Holtzman this look. Dare I say, when pushed, when pressed for patience even just a little, Jeremiah peeked his head out of that metaphorical door again, this time to express his discontent, all the while not putting headphones back on. Now, given what we noticed earlier about Holtzman's sensitivity to social nuance, I doubt he missed this look. But instead of stopping the show to ask what Jeremiah's deal is, he does this. And for the record, this is exactly why I love Brian Holtzman right now.
I've not.
Now, because we missed so many days, believe it or not, this is a first. This is,
Anyway,
What?
items of
Oh.
interest too, but we're running really late, so I'm only
So-
going to do one story.
Holtzman,
You gotta go?
I
You gotta
love
go?
I have to go. I'm so
All right,
sorry.
no, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. This is a rather long podcast.
No, it's all good.
I'm
I
happy you
scheduled
were able
things
to
a little
come
bit
here.
too back to back, but
in case you missed that, he said, Holtzman, I love you, but I gotta leave. I scheduled things a little too back to back. Holtzman takes it well, but then Jeremiah just leaves, which leaves Dylan Sullivan alone with Holtzman.
thank you very
All
much
right,
for
buddy.
having me. I had a
Bounce.
great
No,
time.
I don't want to keep you if you got to go. I know you
Yeah.
got the you got other shit to do.
Thank you so
Jeremiah,
much. for the
congrats on everything.
Dude, thank
Seriously.
you guys.
All right, get home
Ryan,
safe.
Awesome to see you, brother. Good to see
All right, that was so long, buddy.
Yeah, look at all this merch. I love it.
Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
And so that was nice of him to come. You know,
Yeah,
he's got a lot of
absolutely.
things going on with the child. And
Except it wasn't for his child. It was because Jeremiah double booked, or quote, booked a little too back to back, as he put it. Anyway, 7 minutes later, the podcast ended. And had Jeremiah not felt too big time to do some research, he'd know that it's a very common episode length for Dead Air. But when making plans to do his hug and plug appearances, it seems Jeremiah leaves his door open and his shadow self fully exposed. P.S. The rest of this episode went fine. Holtzman was nice, and Dylan even got a souvenir to show his pals when he gets back home. He seems sweet, even despite all the nonsense he was talking about laws. Regardless, I am opening up a character profile on him as we speak. So remember to subscribe so you don't miss it.